I put up the clip that showed me requesting the records for Epstein. That is, I put that up on social media just so we could clarify that issue. Mr. Patel, what I'd like to ask you about, you mentioned that Memphis is the homicide capital of the country. That concerns us. And we've recently had an issue where the FBI wanted to consolidate the Memphis and Knoxville offices into a Nashville office. And of course, this causes us some concern. And I would like to get your commitment that you will make certain that we have every resource we need in Memphis to deal with this issue, and that the FBI will be appropriately resourced in the state of Tennessee.
You absolutely will, Senator.
Thank you so much for that. And then we've had some talk today about DEI, and we've talked about this in this committee, and the emphasis the FBI put on DEI and things like counting Swifty bracelets and things of that nature, and not on investigations. And what we want to make certain is that we have qualified individuals who are going to stick to that core mission. And you have talked about that mission today, and thank you for being able to recite what it is. We appreciate that. And I want you to just talk a little bit about those first few actions that you can take to build back the recruiting and the training in order to accomplish that mission.
Absolutely, Senator. Quite simply, I know we have limited time, is that people who sign up to serve the FBI must meet the rigorous high standards, merits, and physical fitness standards, and those will not be changed.
So that will be a priority for you.
And I think people who want to join the FBI do so with the dedication to serve this country and an adherence to law enforcement. And we will allow those folks that graduate from the academy and enter the FBI to carry a gun and a badge in representation of this country to protect its citizens. And when we allow the good cops to be cops and put handcuffs on the bad guys, I think you will see an exponential increase in enrollment and how we keep people at the FBI.
And that is a day one item for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Patel, do you believe that background checks for firearm purchases are constitutional?
I don't know the in-depths of it, but I think that's what the Supreme Court has said, Senator.
So the word would be YES, yes. Can you say yes? Are background checks constitutional?
I can say whatever the Constitution and the Supreme Court ruled is the rule of the land.
And what is the law of the land at the moment?
I'm not an expert on state-by-state background
You're
checks.
going to be universal background checks. Well,
that's different.
I think actually your answer is pretty telling. Let me ask you another question. Do you believe that civilian ownership of machine guns are protected by the Second Amendment?
Universal background checks are different. That's not what
I asked
I'm
you a
saying.
separate question. Do you believe civilian ownership of machine guns is protected by the Second Amendment?
Whatever the courts rule in regards to the Second Amendment is what is protected by the Second Amendment.
You got another telling response, colleagues, on another important issue. We've all talked, both sides of the aisle, about our concern about gun violence in America. I raise these questions because of an association I can observe between Mr. Patel and Gun Owners of America, a group staunchly opposed to firearm regulation, a group that Mr. Patel addressed in August, and a group that in December issued a press release applauding his nomination to be FBI director. Gun Owners of America has taken extreme positions, including the position that all background checks are unconstitutional, and that civilian ownership of machine guns is protected under the Second Amendment. Mr. Patel, let me remind you that as FBI director, you would oversee critical responsibilities related to firearm regulation, including administering the National Instant Criminal Background Check System. Yes, it's constitutional. It's in place for a reason. You would also regulate the distribution of machine guns to prevent them from falling into the wrong hands. Policies and programs in place for a reason. And given your hesitancy, given your answers, I'm concerned about your ability to do the job when it's not in alignment with groups like Gun Owners of America. Colleagues, we've been hearing a lot of partial responses and lack of recollections throughout the day, and I can't help but identify the pattern of Mr. Patel calling FBI leadership corrupt, labeling agents as gangsters, accusing them of being part of a criminal deep state conspiracy. We've heard of his experience with the J6 prison choir, a group of individuals convicted for their roles in the January 6th insurrection. We've heard his false claims that the U.S. had secured airspace permissions during a high-stakes SEAL team hostage rescue mission in Nigeria. I can go on and on. These positions are inconsistent with the role of FBI director, a position that demands independence, professionalism, and unwavering commitment to the rule of law. Mr. Patel, your loyalty to President Trump and the MAGA movement may score you points in some quarters, but they are certainly not the qualities necessary to serve as director of the FBI. And Mr. Chair, just in closing, I understand while I was out of the room earlier that Senator Tillis raised my name and attributed to a quote, bent the knee as part of my questioning earlier to me. And so for the record and for my colleague from North Carolina, I want to clarify that the bent the knee quote were not my words. I was quoting Mr. Patel as he appeared on the Sean Ryan show on September 2nd of 2024. And I'm happy to share a link, Senator Tillis, to clarify. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. I don't want to belabor this, but it certainly would be